And I was reflecting, this week. I've been reading up as we near to Easter. You just start reading up on Easter and seeing, okay, what is the story? And there are just two passages that confounded me and made me think about obedience in a different way. Matthew 21, verses 1 to 3 says, "When they drew near to Jerusalem and came to Bethphage, to the Mount of Olives, then Jesus sent 2 disciples, saying to them, 'Go to the village in front of you, and immediately you will find a donkey tied and a colt with her. Untie them and bring them to me. If anyone says anything to you, you shall say, the Lord needs them, and he will send them at once.'" Now, it's just because you're reading about Easter, you're thinking about Jesus, you're thinking about him going to the cross. You don't really read about this person who had 2 animals, a donkey and a colt. Do you ever think about that guy? You're sitting there, you're going by your day, then someone comes to you and says, the Lord needs your colt and your donkey. And then you go and say, yeah, go. I'm like, imagine the level of obedience that this person was walking in. And my brain was so racked thinking about this. I was thinking, surely maybe this guy was an angel. It doesn't say, so you now start playing with things in your mind and saying, maybe this guy was actually an angel, because my levels, I can't do it. But no, it doesn't say that. And it's safe to assume that this guy is a person who God came and spoke to his heart that there'll be a time I'll call you for obedience. There's a time set for you, a time with a purpose. You might not understand it. In fact, you probably didn't even know that day was the day. But God came and said, I need your donkey and I need your colt. And something in his spirit must have arose and said, yes, this is it. This is it. I've been setting up my shoppers here for all this time. All the things God had lined up my life to be the way it is right now for a moment such as this. My brothers and sisters, let's not miss when God comes and calls us to obedience. Let's not miss it, because it comes as such a small request. It comes, give me your donkey. Give me your colt. The Lord needs it. Okay, take it. The second scripture is Luke 22, verses 7 to 13. Then came the day of unleavened bread, on which the Passover lamb had to be sacrificed. So Jesus sent Peter and John, saying, "Go and prepare the Passover for us, that we may eat it." And they said to him, "Where will you have us prepare it?" He said, "Behold, when you have entered the city, a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him into the house that he enters, and tell the master of the house, the teacher says to you, where is the guest room, that I may eat Passover with my disciples? And he will show you a large upper room furnished. Prepare it there." And then they went and they found it as they told him, and prepared the Passover. Another act of obedience that is lost in Scripture unless you really pick it up and draw it. That you're sent, all right, go. Firstly, the disciples had to be obedient. It's just weird. Yeah, go to Karigamombe, you find someone selling tomatoes, follow him to wherever he goes, and then wherever he goes, you speak to the boss of that place, and then tell him what? We want to have a party here, and they should set up everything. But Jesus, all right. So they actually go. And they find the guy carrying water. I don't know, I'm an African, I was picturing carrying it in his head. I don't know why, but I should rebuke myself. He was probably carrying it in pitchers and jars. And he goes, and these people see him. I'm trying to picture them like they see the guy. And what do they do? Because it's not clear. Do they go up to him and say, "Hi, can we follow you home?" Or they watch him from afar, and they're like, that's him over there. And then they like sneak, and then he turns around, and then they're like, oh no, pretending like they're talking, until they eventually get to the house, and then they eventually knock, and then the guy's like, "But you guys, I thought I saw you following me. There, Pakari Gamombe. I don't have cash unless you're trying to rob me. And they're like, no, we need to speak to your master because there's something that, need to discuss with him. What do you, no, don't worry, I need to speak to your master. So they go and they speak to him, and the guy is like, and he's hearing the story that you found my servant, Kariga Mumbe, carrying my goods, and you follow him here, and you expect me to put a feast for you. Muri 13. Guys, 13 of you. No, I don't think so. Maybe like next. That's what it is. But no, this guy is like, as soon as he hears it, again, something stirs up in his spirit. That this is something that God has called me to do. This is something that God has for me. And even though I don't understand it, even though it doesn't make sense, and it actually is a bit creepy that you followed my servants, but it's still, Lord, I will honor you. And I will do this. And at 13, do you want to set a place for anyone else? I can imagine him be so full of obedience, so full of wanting to serve the master that even when he was told 13, he was like, all right, that's fine. Any room for others? Are we having an all-night crusade? Boss, just tell me whatever you want, it's done. And this is the level of obedience that I just found in the scriptures, and I was just like mind blown that, Lord, wow, you have raised people to do such marvelous works in this time.